So let this be the marker. Let this be the reference for you when someone tries to act like Donald Trump is not guilty of that which he is accused. With all of the talk about the perviness, the inappropriateness, the chomo nature of Donald Trump, and all of the comments that I read on my videos and that I see online from Trump trolls and those who have not allowed the scales to fall from their eyes, as it were, about the nature of Donald Trump, I want this video to serve as a record for the behavior and character of the 45th and 47th president of the United States. There are too many people in this country who believe him to be some kind of a mighty, righteous man of God, who actually is a follower and a believer of the philosophies of Jesus the Christ. That is not who he is. Donald Trump is a perverse, disgusting, credibly accused rapist of women and children. And a lot of people will ask, well, you don't really have any evidence of this. And of course, we don't have any hard evidence. There's no video of it that we know of yet. But there are certainly patterns of behavior, things that he has said with his own mouth that are outside of the norm of what is good and decent. So let's let this litany of video evidence or adjacent evidence be that. If you have someone in your life that is a little bit on the edge, on the fence about Donald Trump, someone who's sold on Donald Trump, this is the resource to point them to. This is the video to bookmark and share widely across the social media. Let's begin with what kind of a good and decent family values Republican talks about having sex with his own daughter while she's sitting right next to him on the couch.
I have an issue with it then. If they were using her to...
I don't think Ivanka would do that inside the magazine, although she does have a very nice figure. I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know?
Stop it! Oh, it's so weird. Stop
You know what? You are sick.
Yeah.
And for those who want to make excuses for this kind of abhorrent, disgusting, destructive behavior, we know what he's talking about. When he says, perhaps I'd be dating her, he doesn't mean go down to the soda fountain and have a malt. He means sex. That is what Donald Trump means when he says, if Ivanka were not my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her, because he thinks of her that way. It's not the only time he's mentioned sex, sexual relations, of the act of sex in front of Ivanka. He was on Wendy Williams several years back, and they were playing a game about what do you have in common. In fact, in this clip, Wendy Williams explains the game and says, okay, and then we'll go to you, okay, Dad? Recognizing that this is a father-daughter comparison that they're making here. Watch this, and while you watch this, think in your mind, if you have a kid, if you have a child, if you are a child of someone, which makes all of us that, in what world, what justification could there be for thinking about aligning your thoughts about sex when thinking about your child?
We want to know a little bit more about you guys, so we play this game here. It's called Fave 5. I'll ask the question. Ivanka, you answer first, and then Dad, you answer also.
This is tough.
Okay, Ivanka, what's the favorite thing you have in common with your father?
Either real estate or golf.
Donald, with your daughter?
Well, I was going to say sex, but I can't relate that
Oh, that was Hulk Hogan creepy.
to no, I know, so...
Good, Christian, family values. Am I right? And it's not the only time, again, we've seen Donald Trump time and time and time look lustfully at Ivanka Trump. Some of the things I'm not going to include here today are the reports from his first term about him thinking about, talking about out loud, surmising what it would be like to have sex with Ivanka. I'm not even going to include the stuff that can't be substantiated with audio or video. That's all what that's going to be here today. On Howard Stern, many years ago, when Ivanka was 17 years old, he told Howard Stern a tale about how Ivanka at 17 said, promise me, Dad, you'll never date someone younger than me. Now, for those Trump people in the audience who are math challenged, younger than 17 is 16 and below. Watch this.
But Donald, do you worry because you have a daughter who's a model?
I do, and I have a deal with her. She's just 17, and she's doing great, Ivanka, and she made me promise her, swear to her, that I would never date a girl younger than her. So, as she grows, Howard, as she grows older,
right,
the field is getting very limited severely, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the nerve of her. Now you can't go out with 16-year-olds.
Chuckle, chuckle. Yeah, I can't have sex with kids. Very, very funny, Donald Trump. Very funny standard bearer for the Republican Party, the party that has beat us over the head for years and years and years about being the family values party. The party of protecting children in more recent years. The pro-life party, right? It's not the only gross, disgusting, inappropriate, possibly criminal thing that he said about his children. Tiffany Trump, when she was a baby, just 1 year old, there was an interview on the lifestyles of the rich and famous with Robin Leach, where Donald Trump and Marla Maples sat, and Robin Leach asked the question, what's your new baby? What does she have of yours? And does she have your nose? Does she have Marla Maples' eyes? And Donald Trump said, well, she has Marla's legs. We're going to have to find out if she has these.
Now, Donald, what does Tiffany have of yours and what does Tiffany have of Marla's?
Well, I think that she's got a lot of Marla. She's really a beautiful baby, and she's got Marla's legs. We don't know whether or not she's got this part yet, but time will.
Again, what father, what parent thinks? How does that thought come into the mind of a father about a daughter? The Republican Party bangs on about trans people being a threat when Donald Trump is the threat, not only to strangers, as we've learned, but to his own progeny, to his own offspring. Donald Trump lusts. He salivates thinking about Ivanka. He wonders about infant Tiffany and how her breasts will look. Is it far removed that these allegations against him and his 15-year best friendship with notorious child rapist Jeffrey Epstein is, who could ever imagine, who could make this allegation against Donald Trump, an upstanding man? Are you kidding me? It isn't just family, though. There was a moment that was caught on tape, I believe, from Entertainment Tonight, where they're doing an interview with Donald Trump in Trump Tower, and a young child, a young female child with the voice of like a 7 or 8 year old, you'll see the video. She's getting onto the escalator, and Donald Trump, you hear his voice say, "Are you getting on the escalator?" And he turns to the pervy douche next to him and says, "Can you believe I'll be dating her soon?" And then you hear them uncomfortably giggle, as women are programmed as a protection measure to do, as she ascends the escalator. This is our president. Watch this.
Okay, you start and I'm ready.
In the wake of questions and allegations about Donald Trump's behavior towards women, ET discovered this footage in our archive, which we provided to CBS News.
Soon. Thursday night. You're going up the escalator? I'm going to be dating her in 10 years. Can you believe it? Okay.
Keep defending him, Republicans. Keep acting as though you are the family values party, that you are the morality party, that you're the party of religion and deeply held convictions of faith. Hypocrites, liars, perverts, or at the very least, protectors of perverts. Donald Trump used to own and run beauty pageants. We all know that. There's audio of him explaining again to Howard Stern that he used to go into the dressing rooms of teen beauty pageants, of women beauty pageants, while they were naked, because I run the place, I can get away with that. I can get away with that kind of stuff. Meaning it's not proper behavior, but because I own it, I can get away with it. The get away with it really is doing a lot of heavy lifting here, for meaning it's not something that's supposed to happen. It's illegal. It's gross. It's disgusting. It's inappropriate. But people are too afraid because of the power that I have. So I do pervy shit. Remember this moment.
Well, you could also say, as the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that.
So you have done that. Now,
I'll tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting. I want to make sure that
You're like
everything is
doctor.
good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible looking women. And so I sort of get away with it.
How can people defend him? How can the James Comers, the Marco Rubios, the Jim Jordans, the Moses Mike Johnson, Jesus, how can they defend this with a straight face and go to church on Sunday and privately pray to their God in good conscience? Either they're not real Christians, they don't really believe anything, or they have a very warped, distorted, bastardized version of Christianity that they follow. Look, having grown up in the same faith tradition as these people I just mentioned, I don't understand it. Let's finish with the clip we are all familiar with from the very first time that Donald Trump ran for president, when he said that, look, when you're a star, you can do anything you want. They'll let you do anything. You can, I'm drawn to beautiful. I just kiss them. It's like a magnet. I just kiss them. You can do anything you want to them. You'll remember.
I moved on her, and I failed. I'll admit it.
Whoa.
I did try and fuck her. She was married.
That's huge news, Sarah.
No, Nancy. Yeah. No, this was marriages. And I moved on her very heavily. In fact, I took her out furniture shopping. She wanted to get some furniture. I said, I'll show you where they have some nice furniture. I took her out furniture. I moved on her like a bitch. But I couldn't get there, and she was married. Then all of a sudden, I see her. She's now got the big phony tits and everything. She's totally changed her look. I better use some Tic Tacs just in case I start kissing her. I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the pussy. I can do anything.
So let this be the marker. Let this be the reference for you when someone tries to act like Donald Trump is not guilty of that which he is accused.
Free DC! Free Palestine! Trump is the Hitler of our time! What do you want your legacy to be?
Let's go.
The other day in the Oval Office, a reporter asked Donald Trump about having never gone to dinner in Washington, D.C. during his first term or any time during this term. And he incredulously asked, oh, how do you know that? How do you know that? And he kind of challenged the reporter. And apparently it sparked something in Donald Trump's mind that he needs to get out there and go to dinner to prove that Washington, D.C. is now crime-free because of his military invasion and occupation of the nation's capital, the city in which I live. And he went out last night and he was face-to-face confronted by protesters as you would expect him to be. There's several elements of this I want to talk about. We're going to go through a litany of clips here, but chiefly among them is, how did these people get that close to the president of the United States? How much of just a feckless failure are the Secret Service now? If this was a president I gave a shit about, I would be concerned. I had a conversation with someone this morning who said that to me, and I wholeheartedly agree. But because it is Donald Trump, keep doing your job poorly, Secret Service. Keep doing it poorly. Look, Laura Ingraham will kick this off. They had a Fox News alert that Donald Trump was proving D.C. safe by going to dinner. And then after that, we'll talk about exactly where he went to dinner.
Fox News alert, Donald Trump is out on the town. Dinner with members of his cabinet in D.C., showing it's safe to walk around the city after deploying the National Guard. Crime, as we know, has plummeted in the city, but President Trump talked to reporters just a few moments ago.
Don't you love that? Fox News alert, Donald Trump is out on the town, showing that it's safe to go out to dinner in D.C. Laura Ingraham. God, you just gotta love it, right? So here's what's so great about this. Remember the moment when Donald Trump gassed peaceful protesters in the streets of Washington, D.C., but a block away from the White House? Not even a block. It's really on the White House grounds across from Lafayette Square. And he walked over with his Bible, not his Bible, a Bible, and held it up as some kind of a beating you over the head with his message nonsense after having, again, violated people's constitutional rights to free speech and expression and assembly and grievance, displaying their grievance registering their grievance against the government. Yeah, this is where that was. Right where the little metro here on the H Street for Chris, producer Chris, you can put a little circle there. That's where that was. The dinner that Donald Trump went to deep in the heart of Washington, D.C. was 1 minute away on the same block of the White House. Donald Trump could have walked to dinner last night. Instead, he took a motorcade replete with security. A full Secret Service detail. They drove the heavily armored beast Cadillac limousine there with all of the SUVs to accompany Donald Trump. He was with his Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, in a city that is now occupied by thousands of National Guard troops to prove that it's safe to go to dinner. And when he got out of the motorcade, he was greeted with some cheers because they had to have announced this. And there were some Trump people out there. D.C. obviously filled with tourists. You don't see MAGA hats of D.C. residents. It's just not something you see. I've seen one in all the years that I've lived here, and it was the day after Donald Trump got elected this time. One MAGA hat in the city of DC, other than tourists on the mall, like kids on high school trips and shit like that. So this is Donald Trump getting out of the motorcade, and it's not just cheers and oh, yay, the president. There's a lot of boos from people who live here. Yeah. And then once he got into the restaurant, this clip is about 2 minutes long. There were some patriots who arrived on the scene, who went into the restaurant. They were not violent. They were not, other than being loud and chanting, a great new chant. I hope you're going to hear the chant in a minute here. But I really hope that those people who are talented with the music, when they turn things into like songs and music that are just like clips of audio, I hope they find this, because free DC, free Palestine, Trump is the Hitler of our time, needs to be put to music. free DC, free Palestine, and the genocide that is taking place at the hands of the Israeli government right now. And Trump is the Hitler of our time. Watch Donald Trump try to play it cool and then demand that the Secret Service remove these people exercising their free speech.
Let's go.
He was welcomed here. He's terrorizing communities and
Time to go.
He's terrorizing communities
Time to
all
go.
over the world.
Time to go.
Puerto Rico.
Let's go.
Free DC, free Palestine. Trump is the Hitler of our time. He is not welcome to DC. He's not welcome to Palestine. Palestine is not free DC, free Palestine. Trump is the Hitler of our time. Your legacy is genocide. Your legacy is genocide. Your legacy is genocide. Every single one of you are complicit. Hitler was security too. Free DC, free Palestine. Trump is the Hitler of our time. Free DC, free Palestine. Trump is the Hitler of our time. Free DC, free Palestine. Trump is the Hitler of our time. Free DC, free Palestine. Trump is the Hitler of our time. Free DC, free Palestine. Trump is the Hitler.
Awesome. A couple things, though. One, Donald Trump can't go out to dinner with his wife. I almost said Ivanka. Freudian slip, I guess. With Melania because, well, she doesn't live here. She doesn't sleep in the residence with Donald Trump because, their marriage is a joke. It's a farce. It's a fraud, right? The other thing is he carries along with him his cabinet bros. He's got the vice president of the United States, J.D. Vance, glad-handing with morons in the restaurant while he's being chanted at. He brings his Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, who can't stand like a normal person. And of course, the satellite dished, earlobed Marco Rubio, the cabinet clownery. That's who he brings with him. And then the feckless failures who run his Secret Service detail. Again, look, do your deal. If that's the best you got, do the best you got, because there is any other president, any other Secret Service detail that allowed this kind of thing to happen to a sitting United States president would be fired, summarily dismissed. You didn't secure a perimeter. You didn't check who is coming in and out of the what is going on? Dangerous stuff for the continuation of government in the United States that this took place. Not complaining. We need more of this from citizens. This is the kind of action that we need to see. This is the kind of organizing, spur of the moment protest. This is the kind of chanting and messaging that Donald Trump needs to hear because he's not used being pushed back against. He's used to a MAGA crowd at a rally that worships at the throne of the dear leader. It's good for him to hear that he is hated, reviled, that he is considered Hitler. The only questionable thing is that he picked a man, J.D. Vance, who said he was America's Hitler before deciding to become the vice president of America's Hitler. So, you take that for what it is.
I don't know about nobody suggested that. Certainly I don't like that whole situation.
Yesterday, on his way to dinner, proving that D.C. is the safest city in the United States, that he has lowered crime by a factor of 100%. With his 1-minute drive to dinner on the same block on which the White House sits, he got out of the car and talked to the media very briefly, and put on a masterclass for callousness and stupidity. I don't know. Listen, we're just going to have to roll with these clips. So I have 2 clips here. One is where Donald Trump is incredulously trying to convince America through the media that the signatures that you see on the Epstein birthday book are not his signature that is all over the record. In letter after letter after letter after letter, from year, different year, different year, different year. That's not him, even though it's identical. Now, Republicans have run with this narrative. Well, that doesn't look the same. They would have you believe that the signature here in the top left corner, the Epstein signature, looks nothing like the others. Again, they live in an alternate reality. But here he is, being aggressive and arrogant about it, saying to this reporter, it's not in the language I use. That's not my character, blah, blah, blah. Watch this. And then we'll get to the display of callousness about the victims of Jeffrey Epstein, where there is no question they are victims. After all, he was indeed convicted of those crimes. Here, though, he denies his signature.
It's not my signature, and it's not the way I speak. And anybody that's covered me for a long time, no, that's not my language. It's nonsense. And frankly, you're wasting your time. All you do is trying to get off the great success of D.C. and about 200 other things we've done that are so successful.
You're wasting your time, he says. You're wasting your time. Don't bother barking up that tree. You'll just be wasting your time. There's far more important things. Why don't you talk about all of the many wars that I say that I've ended that I haven't ended? All the many wars that didn't happen that I say that I ended, because of the reality that I try to create through my words that my cult believes. But those who aren't mired in this alternate reality, they don't believe. The rest of us who are condemned to deal with reality on reality's terms. The signature is Donald Trump's. It strains credulity to assert that Donald Trump's signature and special friendly note to his best friend on his 50th birthday somehow was fraudulently put in decades ago, and that Jeffrey Epstein would have left it in knowing that it was a fraud. It smacks of idiocy to assert anything other than what this fact. It's bananas, frankly. The other question that was asked of him was about, are you going to be meeting with the victims of Jeffrey Epstein? Look, there's no reason Donald Trump wouldn't want to meet with the victims of Jeffrey Epstein, but because he is the president of the United States, this is a wildly a story of public interest, a noteworthy story right now, where there are hundreds of victims of someone who got a sweetheart deal by the federal government. Now, I'm distancing Donald Trump from all of this, obviously for a reason. That is the reason he won't meet with them. He's not going to meet with the victims of the man who was his best friend for 15 years, who he has been credibly accused of abusing himself. Therein lies the rub. Watch his absolutely callous, heartless, just answer filled with assholery relative to whether or not he'll meet them. Oh, I've never even thought of it, he says.
Will you meet with the Epstein victims? Do you plan to meet with?
I don't know about, nobody suggested that. Certainly, I don't like that whole situation with respect to anybody being abused or hurt, but I haven't even thought about that. Thank you all very much. Have a good time. Thank you.
Nobody has suggested that you meet with the victims. I know there's probably a couple hundred victims who have suggested you meet with them. So they, in their in their journey for justice, they would love to meet with the President of the United States, the head of the Department of Justice that is currently not allowing them to find their justice, not giving them the justice they so richly deserve, Donald Trump. What do you mean no one's ever suggested it before? Even if that's the case, you need to be told that maybe it's a good idea, you fucking moron. You callous, heartless, credibly accused rapist of children. It's not even in his head. That's the best scenario Donald Trump has for you. That it's not even in my head that I should visit with the victims. Ask them one-on-one, what do you need from me? How can I be of service to you as your president? When you were the victim of a horrific serial crime, a serial abuser of children. Some of these women were kidnapped, were recruited, we'll put it in easier terms, from Donald Trump's employ. Maybe that's why he doesn't want to meet them. How many of these ladies does he know that he's refusing to meet? What kind of headlines would come from him meeting the victims? That's the question we need to know. That's why all of these answers that we don't have, all of these questions, the answers to which we don't have, we need. This is why this story should not die, is because we need to know. Why won't Donald Trump meet with them? We need to know how many of these women he knows. What exactly is his involvement with this? Why is he working tirelessly to bury this story, to cover this up, to give Ghislaine Maxwell, a convicted predator, the sweetest of sweetheart deals, moving her to a Club Med prison where she is not legally, by regulation through Bureau of Prisons, supposed to be there because she is a convicted child predator. But he's our president. He's the Republican leader, the family values president, right? What do you think? I invite you to this conversation. We can have it below in the comments, or you can call the voicemail line 714-576-4054. Of course, you can always email me daily at dollemore.com.
No reason to think he's conducted any wrongdoing involving Jeffrey Epstein. You noted, you're a prosecutor, you're a lawyer here. There's this defamation.
I would say we have lots of reasons to think he was involved in wrongdoing.
Look, I don't know about you, but I'm getting very tired. Let me say this. I don't know if you're as tired of hearing the thing that I'm getting ready to say as I am being the person who says it. But mainstream media, corporate media, moderate, placating media is selling us all out. They are hell-bent on acquitting Donald Trump of charges of abusing children and women before they're actually even leveled against him formally. I have two clips, both from CNN today. I have my criticism of all kinds of media. I will continue to do so. I will point the finger where it needs to be pointed, where it is deserved. And today is no different. In fact, today I'm going to be criticizing someone that I have respect for, John Berman. But let's start with this. This is the kind of thing I'm talking about. We've all seen the evidence related to Donald Trump's almost 2-decade-long best friendship with notorious child abuser, child rapist, Jeffrey Epstein. We've seen the letter, the birthday card of the here's to another year of wonderful secrets and enigmas never age, Jeffrey. We have a lot in common, Jeffrey. We've all seen this. We've seen the signature that they now deny is not the signature. And the media is tripping all over themselves after they've tied themselves into a pretzel to try to cover for Donald Trump, to try to, at the beginning of interviews, to say, well, there's no evidence that Donald Trump did anything wrong. Just conduct the interview. You don't have to do a cross-examination of the witness. You don't have to put on a defense of Donald Trump. That's not your job, CNN. It is not your job, Washington Post. Get a load of this post on Blue Sky and look at this headline down here from Washington Post. No clear answers on whether Trump signed the Epstein birthday book. Is there no clear answers? In the next video I'm going to be doing, I'll be showing this. All these exact duplicate signatures from over the years of Donald Trump's name. What do you mean there's no clear answers? I guess unless Donald Trump admits it, we have no way of knowing whether he's involved, whether that was him. I guess somehow a forgery took place and someone worked their way into Donald Trump's best friend's birthday book. And then that ended up on the record in his personal files. What? Yeah, makes total sense, Washington Post. Breonna Keeler. Actually, let's start with John Berman. This is actually a more egregious example of it, where John Berman starts the interview with Representative Dave Min of my former congressional district in California. And he says, there's no reason to think, this is what John Berman says, there's no reason to think that Donald Trump is involved in any wrongdoing with Jeffrey Epstein. And listen, to Dave Min's credit, he stops that. There was no question. But he said, John Berman goes to move on and goes, no, wait, whoa. Let's back up here, brother. There's absolutely reason to think that there's wrongdoing on the part of Donald Trump related to Jeffrey Epstein. Beautiful moment from Representative Dave Min of California.
Again, I do want to say we have no reason to think that he was in any way involved with that check itself. Also, no reason to think he's connected any wrongdoing involving Jeffrey Epstein. You noted, you're a prosecutor, you're a lawyer here. There's this defamation.
I would say we have lots of reasons to think he was involved in wrongdoing. I mean, at this point, there's a lot of smoke. There may be some fire, but I would just push back and say I think there's a lot of reason to think Donald Trump was involved.
Involved with what? I'm sorry, what exactly, what proof do you have that he was involved with wrongdoing in regards to Jeffrey Epstein? And if that's the case, why have there been no prosecutions over 20 years here? Because there haven't really been any allegations that he was involved with wrongdoing.
There are a lot of connections where Donald Trump was named, right? We had a 14-year-old claiming that she was raped by him, then withdrew that claim after she was apparently threatened. His name appears a lot, and again, we at this point, our job is to find justice for these survivors, and that means that we need to continue digging, knowing that there is a cover-up taking place right now. And I didn't say that we have proof. At this point, we have a lot of smoke. But Donald Trump's name is clearly mentioned multiple times. We've seen him lie over and over about things that we now know to be true. So again, I think that we, as the Oversight Committee, we owe an obligation to the girls, the American people out there, to keep digging and find out the truth, whoever's involved.
Again, Donald Trump has not been named in any connection or charged with any wrongdoing there. Ghislaine Maxwell, take this for what it is, but Ghislaine Maxwell said, she never saw Donald Trump or anyone, for that matter, engaged in any wrongdoing connected to Jeffrey Epstein. Dave Min, Congressman from California.
I will just point out that Ghislaine Maxwell was indicted for perjury after she made that statement that you mentioned, transferred to minimum security prison in Texas. So, again.
Look, Speaker Johnson sat right here and told me he doesn't really believe anything Ghislaine Maxwell says. I was merely stating what was in that transcript, but there are plenty of people on both sides of the aisle who don't put much weight in it. Congressman Dave Min, thanks so much.
Those two comments linked together from John Berman are not just perplexing. They're not just damaging. They are an abdication of his role as a member of the free and fair, constitutionally protected free press. I don't know how many times I've talked about that. The only occupation that is listed as protected in the Constitution of the United States of America is the free and fair press. You are offered that. You are protected under this sacred document, John, and this is what you bring. This is the rigor with which you do your job, sir. There's no reason to think that Donald Trump is involved in any wrongdoing with Jeffrey Epstein. And then I would say we have a lot of reasons to think he's involved in wrongdoing. Involved with what? What proof do you have? The media will lead us to our demise. They will lead us walking off the plank as American democracy burns for the fact that they want to be even-handed. We gotta, both sides. There is no both sides to this. Donald Trump is a perv with a history of disgusting, abhorrent, immoral, abusive behavior over decades. You're not best friends with a notorious, convicted pedophile, child trafficker, and you're a good and decent person. It's just, that's not how things work. So maybe think about that, John. Really, seriously, I'm not just saying it to score a point here in the video. John Berman's a guy who I think does good work on CNN. He is a good journalist. He asks hard questions. I haven't seen any evidence otherwise until today, or I haven't remembered any evidence until today. But I believe this is an editorial decision on the part of CNN because Breonna Keeler, she's got all kinds of problems. I've bitched about her for a long time. Notably when Joe Biden did the Philadelphia speech and he had Marines behind him and she's like, oh, he's misusing the military. But now it's crickets as Donald Trump uses the military as a police force in the United States. So great. We appreciate that. But I think this is absolutely an editorial decision on the part of the corporation because Breonna Keeler did the same exact thing yesterday where she started the interview. She starts it saying, we've seen no sign of wrongdoing on Donald Trump's part, almost verbatim to what John Berman said.
We should note, it's important too, we've seen no sign of wrongdoing on Trump's part.
We've seen no wrongdoing on the part of Donald, no sign of wrongdoing? What are you doing, Breonna Keeler? Do you really believe that, or are you just doing what the bosses are telling you to do? And in either way, there's no excuse for it because you're selling out American democracy. Your job is of no importance relative to the continuation of this nation. Full stop. Big, fat period at the end of that sentence. The interview did continue with Representative Greg Casar. Here's a little brief snippet from it.
What's your reaction then when you hear the White House press secretary, as you released that, a signature that does bear resemblance to his signature, and she said, as I have said all along, it's very clear President Trump did not draw this picture and he did not sign it. President Trump's legal team will continue to aggressively pursue litigation.
Well, look, when Donald Trump said first this didn't exist, and then we found it, and now he's saying he didn't sign it. His signature just looks just like his own signature. It's like the bank robber who's caught with a bag full of cash and says, I'm not the one who robbed the bank. I mean, everyday Americans just aren't gonna keep on buying these sorts of excuses, and we're gonna keep investigating this case, not just to have transparency around the president, but transparency around any powerful person in this country who turned a blind eye or was complicit in these horrible crimes, because we know that there are other women that are being trafficked and abused in this sort of way in this country right now. And we need to make sure that we're standing up for all survivors, these survivors and all other survivors in the country right now. And a president or a powerful politician saying nothing to see here, that's a sign that you've got to go look where they're telling you there's nothing to see here.
Congressman Greg Casar, thank you.
So look, I don't know. It's frustrating. It's perplexing. I don't understand it. I would love for someone smarter than me to tell me what in the hell is going on here. I would invite you to this conversation to illuminate me and my little brain about what in the hell the motive is here. What's the upside for the media to be behaving like this?
Something 22 years ago. We're going to look.
So you're just going to take the president at his word that this is not it.
What does it have to do with anything?
For years, James Comer has been he is the House Oversight Committee chairman, but really he's the House Distraction Committee chairman, because whatever the Republican Party, whenever they need something that is to distract away from their failings or from the failings or crimes of Donald Trump, they whip up an investigation. They whip up, the Biden crime family, the bribery and all the blah, blah, blah that went nowhere. When that investigation began, however many years or months ago that it was, I said, this will render nothing. There will be no convictions. There will be not even a forwarding of a criminal complaint to the Department of Justice. And I was right. Nothing came from that other than diminishing the agenda, the accomplishment of the agenda of Joe Biden, because they have to attend to dealing with the co-equal branch of government that is just throwing up roadblocks. Distraction. The jingling of keys. It's a squeaky baby toy that alerts a dog and then they look away. That's what they intended it to be. That's what they don't want Fox News viewers to know exactly what's going on with their draconian, tyrannical, damaging, deleterious policy agenda. Or the fact that Donald Trump is a credibly accused rapist of women and children. They don't want that, right? So yesterday, the same man who brought us the Biden crime family conspiracy theory that went nowhere is now in charge of getting justice for the Epstein victims, among other things, being the chairman of the House Oversight Committee. And 7 days ago, I guess 8 days ago now, these two clips I have are 7 days apart. One is on September 2nd, and the other is on the 9th, yesterday. But I just want to show you what a difference a week makes with James Comer, because he was asked about getting justice for these victims and bringing all of this evidence to light. And he had a message that we want to bring them justice. We want the best for them, all of this talk. And again, what a difference a week makes. Watch this from September 2nd, 2025.
We're not going to leave any stone unturned and do everything we can. I think you see both parties. The fact that Mike Johnson sat in there for 2.5 hours listening. I mean, we're serious about this, and we want to not only get the American people the information they want. Everybody wants to know who some of the people were that were on the island. They want to know, was the government involved? But I can tell you from listening to the 6 survivors in there today that the government has failed them, because they've reported this to the FBI, they've testified, they've given depositions, and a lot of the people that they implicated were never charged for anything. So we're going to do everything we can to make this right for the victims, as well as get the American people the transparency that
You heard him. He meant it. He seemed genuine, did he not? We're going to do everything we can to make this right for the victims, he says. Oh, James Comer, thank you. Thank you, good and decent Christian man. He wants to do everything he can do to make things right for these victims. The victims of Donald Trump's best friend of 15 years. This man who purports to be a Christian, this man of immense power, being the chairman of the Oversight Committee of the House of Representatives of these United States. That is a big position with immense power, the power to subpoena documents, which he has subpoenaed some documents. His tune, you will not be shocked to know, unless you're a Trump troll in my video right now, you will not be shocked to know that within 7 days, his tune is completely different when it comes to trying to get transparency and justice for the victims, if it brushes up against Donald Trump at all. Here he is yesterday talking to Manu Raju from CNN. And again, what a difference 7 days makes.
He did not sign it, so I take the president at his word. I don't think the Oversight Committee is going to invest in looking up something 22 years ago. We're going to look.
So you're just going to take the president at his word that this is not it.
What does it have to do with anything?
What does it have to do with anything? What does it have to do with anything? Are you that stupid, James? Little Jimmy, are you that fucking stupid that you don't understand what it might have to do with justice for the victims? That your president, your dear leader, the man, your lips are affixed to his asshole? You don't understand what it might have to do with justice for the victims that you just promised us 7 days ago that you would work tirelessly to find? To get justice for the victims? What was the quote? Let's not forget the quote. So we're going to do everything we can to make this right for the victims, unless it deals with Donald Trump. And then, what's it gonna help? What's the point? 22 years ago. I was unaware until now that in the mind of James Comer, there is a statute of limitations for justice for victims who are raped, serially raped as children by Donald Trump, the current president of the United States' best friend of nearly 2 decades. This is where we find ourselves, and this is where we have found ourselves for many, many, many years with the Republican Party, the focus on the family party, the religious right family, the moral authority on all things, the pro-life party, the save the children QAnon party. What's the point? 22 years ago. Where are all my QAnon folks? Where are my adrenochrome folks? Or was that all an act? Was that all just bluster and nonsense because you didn't like Democrats? You're showing your ass, conspiracy theorists. You're showing your actual motivations, Republicans, that you don't care about the safety and security of children. You don't care about the rule of law. You certainly don't care about justice for victims of heinous sexual crimes. Not if Donald Trump's involved. Where's Don Bongino when you need him? Where's Kash Patel, who was banging that drum? Where's Pam fucking Bondi? And the rest of these abject, amoral people. I guess I'll leave that question to you. We need to be thinking more critically and clearly about how we solve our problems, how we better the country through policy, through changing hearts and minds. And it's not the end of a barrel of a gun. Maybe you've already heard, but if you have not, anti-Semite, white nationalist, white Christian nationalist, Charlie Kirk was shot and injured, very possibly gravely injured at a Turning Point USA event in Utah. By my ear, it sounded like, I've listened to the video a couple of times, it sounded like a high caliber weapon. From the multiple angles of the videos that I've seen, it does not look good. He looks to have been wounded gravely, if not fatally. This video absolutely does not serve to revel in his misfortune. Charlie Kirk, while I think he is abhorrent, I think his views are disgusting. I think they are bad for the United States generally, or specifically and more widely the world. He has a wife and he has at least one child. If Charlie Kirk dies, his son, I believe it's a son, will be fatherless. If you believe, I'm going to get to some stuff here, but let me just say this as a preamble. If you believe in the betterment of humanity, our society, if you consider yourself a humanist in any way, this ain't the way. Political violence, whatever Gandhi said about, an eye for an eye just leaves us all blind, leaves the world blind. There's profound wisdom in that. What I want to talk about, though, very briefly, is what I want you to pay attention to in the coming days, in the immediate aftermath of this attack on Charlie Kirk. And then I want you to look back and remember, while I'm talking, I want you to think about the assassination of Democrats and the attempted assassination of Democrats in Minnesota just months ago. And how that was dealt with by Republicans and how it was dealt with by Democrats. And then I want you to look at this moment, this current moment we're in right now, and how Democrats are dealing with this. Are they reveling or are they outraged? Are they disgusted? Governor Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, went on Blue Sky and said the attack on Charlie Kirk is horrifying. Political violence has no place in this country and should never become a norm. I'm sending my sympathies to his family and his friends at this time. One of those friends, podcast guest, Gavin Newsom, the attack on Charlie Kirk is disgusting, vile, and reprehensible. In the United States of America, we must reject political violence in every form. Both of these messages are true. It's not just politicians. Jessica Tarloff, one of his colleagues, a genuinely good and nice man. I would argue with that, but even though he's not a good and nice or decent man, does not mean he deserves to be gunned down at an event. A genuinely good and nice man, wonderful husband and doting dad, that probably is true. This is horrific, praying for Charlie and anyone else affected. And then a colleague, someone you probably know well, David Pakman, also on Blue Sky. Charlie Kirk was apparently shot in the neck at an event in Utah today. As of this time, his status and whether he is alive or dead is unknown. Absolutely terrifying, disgusting stuff. True. We need to model good behavior and be better than this. And not for a pageantry, not for fake effect, but because it's who we are. We are better than the other side. We are more moral. We have more dignity, more decency. We provide more value and worth to the world than to celebrate or promote political violence. If it's bad for the Republican Party to celebrate political violence or to remain quiet, then it's bad for us. Why could it be good for us to do the thing that we abhor about the other side? Let me leave you with this. I'm not going to leave you with this. I got one other thing. I want to show you what the right is saying right now in the wake of this, of one of their guys, how they're acting. But before I do this, there's an account on Blue Sky, and I believe on Twitter, called Pope Hat. Apparently they've changed their name to Stand with Chicago Hat. This is a quote tweet or a quote post of this from Nicholas Grossman. Political violence is bad. It usually begets more political violence. Celebrating political violence is bad. It usually encourages more political violence against various targets. Campus shootings are bad. They make everyone on campus less safe. It is bad that what I wrote here is controversial. Nicholas Grossman, what you wrote there is not controversial. And it was retweeted, reposted by Pope Hat. Political violence disproportionately hurts people with less power, not people with more power. Political violence will disproportionately hurt people of color and women and LGBTQ people. It's not fair, but that's the way it works. Celebrating political violence means, at best, indifference to that. If you're celebrating this, look, we can take stock of what you reap, you sow kind of a thing. I get that. But that's not celebrating this. That's not being gleeful or delighting in the possible leaving fatherless an innocent child, a baby who had no role in this. Even though Charlie Kirk has said that unfortunately gun deaths are worth it to keep the Second Amendment, headline here. Even though that is the case, we are better than that. We know that not to be true. And we can accomplish our goals without resorting to morbidity. This does call for solemnity. You know what I mean? So let me share with you what Jason Chaffetz, the former Utah congressman, the guy who, when Donald Trump dropped the old grab him by the pussy tape, he said, oh, I can't vote for this guy. What will I tell my kids? What will I tell my daughters? And then has gone on to be nothing but a Trump sycophant. This is what he had to say in the immediate aftermath of the shooting. He's on Fox News right now, acting crocodile tears, solemn, oh, sullen, what are we going to do? While blaming a marginalized community that faces violence and death every single day in this country. This is how Republicans act versus what you've just heard from how liberals and Democrats and reasonable, decent people react.
And like I said, there was a light police presence. I'm sure, I hope, there were some undercover people. Charlie has his own a bit of security, but not to deal with, a couple thousand people that were there to see Charlie. They had microphone challenges because there were so many people, they couldn't get all the volume that they wanted. People are having a hard time hearing. But I think when this story is written, I don't think it was a coincidence that the shot rang out when you get a question about transgender mass shootings. That maybe, hopefully I'm wrong. I'll probably get criticized for jumping to conclusions, but I'm just telling you, in the 30 minutes or so, I thought, wow, I don't think that's a coincidence, but we'll see.
So which team are you on? Who do you want to be? Who do we want to be? I grapple with things like this a lot because I feel one way, like for instance, in my heart, I feel one way, I feel a different way in my brain. This isn't one of those cases. But oftentimes, for instance, when the death threat came against Brittany Page and myself, or death against me, rape and death against Brittany Page, I wanted nothing more than to out him publicly. I wanted nothing more than the absolute maximum. But I knew that wasn't going to do anything. That was only to serve my selfish feeling better about things. We need to be thinking more critically and clearly about how we solve our problems, how we come to solutions, how we better the country through policy, through changing hearts and minds. And it's not the end of a barrel of a gun. I welcome your feedback. I'm sure there's people who disagree, and that's okay. Let's talk about it in the comments wherever you're watching this video. You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me daily at dollemore.com. I welcome your input. I encourage your input. Let's talk about this. To Charlie Kirk's wife, if I was a praying man, I'd be praying for you. But again, thoughts and prayers do nothing. Policy is how we change the society in which we live. I love you guys. Be genuine. Now more than ever, take care of one another.